Certainly a huge win for USC on Saturday night. Mike Am and Yogi Roth with you. They took care of business in a league game against Stanford. We'd made so much of those first 6 games. Now it's the Trojans sitting at 2-0. And maybe the most impressive thing is they did it with a freshman quarterback in Kedon Slovis, who made an appearance. We saw that in week number 1 after JT Daniels went down. And the quarterback, he joins us right now. Kedon, congratulations. Offensive Player of the Week, Freshman of the Week in the Pac-12 Conference. Take me through some of the emotions that led up to that start on Saturday.
Yeah, no, it was definitely nice to get my feet wet the week before. Unfortunately, we have our starter and JT go down, and a teammate, and as a friend, it was really tough to see. But it was a good opportunity for me to get in on that second half of the Fresno game, and leading up to the Stanford game, we felt really good about what we had, and we did a pretty good job on Saturday.
When you decided to go to USC, rewind the clock, last December, you make the call, you sign on the dotted line, you're mid-year enrollee. Did you think, I'm probably going to start in the next coming football season?
You never know, but that was the thing. I think my dad and my family kind of did a good job of getting me to kind of buying into competing. And you never know what's going to happen, especially when you have someone like JT coming back. A lot of people assume they're going to be the starter, but with the new system and coach coming in, I had a good opportunity to compete again. And unfortunately, I didn't win that job. But again, you kind of just have to do your best and see what happens.
Kedon, you mentioned not winning that job, but you did beat out a couple vets for that backup role. In terms of your relationship with JT Daniels, how do you describe the dynamics right now, knowing that he's not healthy enough to play and you have the keys to this car?
Yeah, no, he's done a great job. Especially, I can't imagine what it's like to go through something like that, a season-ending injury like an ACL tear. That's very tough, and you're out for a long time. But he's done such a great job of mentoring me and really staying engaged with this football team and with me.
When you think about playing the quarterback position at USC, there's a list of quarterbacks we're going to show you here in a second. When you see this list, what's the first thought that comes to mind, knowing that now you're on it?
Yeah, it's weird to see my name up there, honestly. I feel like it's just surreal. You have guys like you grow up watching Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer and Mark Sanchez and all those guys, Sam Darnold recently, and it's just really an honor to be among those names, honestly.
Yeah, well, in addition to being among those names, when you look at recruiting, and I think we would all agree, the star rankings, like Clay Helton said many times, don't matter, but you and Sam Darnold have something in common as being the only 3-star quarterbacks on that entire list. Have you tried to model elements of your game or how you approach the craft to him and his skill set?
I don't know if I model after him, but I definitely admired his game a lot. His pocket movement was one of the great things he had, and still now in the NFL. It was something special when you watch him play. But when I go out there, I don't really try to emulate. I guess I emulate subconsciously other people's game, but no, not like I specifically model myself after Darnold.
Kedon, because the list is so extensive, and really that USC football community is pretty tight. Who reached out to you before the Week 2 matchup against Stanford, and what were some of the things that they had given you in terms of advice? Yeah,
Matt Leinart actually texted me before the game a few days before, and that was really cool because growing up, that was the guy. Growing up, when you think of USC, you think of Matt Leinart and that era of football. So to get a text from him and one of my first, probably all-time favorite college quarterback ever, that was really special. And I think a few hours before the game, Sanchez texted me, but I didn't see it till after. But that was still really cool.
Okay, so speaking of after the game, what's the most unique thing that ended up showing up on your phone, whether it was a DM or whether it was a text message from somebody?
Oh, man, I don't know. I think it's just the sheer amount of notifications on my phone. I had hundreds of text messages. I think I got 7,000 followers on Instagram from the start of the game to the end, something stupid like that. So the first person I called was my dad to try to coordinate seeing him after the game, and then after that, I just didn't look at my phone the rest of the night.
It's interesting how social media will change once you get a little bit of burn there in a game, especially the way that you would play, setting an SC record in terms of the most passing yards by a freshman quarterback in his first career start. The numbers really jaw-dropping. 28 for 33 passing, 377 yards, and those 3 touchdowns. Maybe the most important number is 0, which was 0 picks thrown in that game. You told me that JT Daniels, you guys have a great relationship right now. I know the last couple weeks, the night before the game, you guys are roommates. What's pillow talk like between you guys?
Not much, just normal stuff. We're still just 18, 19-year-old kids, so we were watching TV, and JT's sorry, I forgot. He's like, I'm not playing tomorrow. Is the volume too loud? Do you want me to turn it down for you? Do you want me to turn it off? That's basically all we said, but we were just doing normal stuff.
That's so good. That's so good, man. All right, so that being said, this system, there's a lot been talked about, of course, Graham Harrell, and the excitement that he's brought to this program, the competitiveness within the offensive side of the football, and also the acumen which you're playing with. This system, it's highly described as it's got a simplicity to it. How confident are you in this offense, and did that allow you to play free and fast on Saturday night?
Oh yeah, this offense is awesome, and it's a lot of fun. You kind of saw it on Saturday. The fast pace, the tempo, and the simplicity just allows our guys to play fast and do what they do and be special. Especially out at wide receiver, those guys don't have to think too much. They kind of just play naturally and go out and play football. And that's the thing. That was probably the most fun football game I've ever been a part of. Not because of the outcome or the score. Obviously that was great, but just going out there and playing and not thinking too much was just a blast.
Kedon, when you look at some of the offensive weapons that are on this roster right now, Yogi and I talk about it. To be honest with you, we've been doing this now 8 years at Pac-12 Network. I feel like every single year the conversation is SC's got the most talent. SC's should be the favorite to go and win the Pac-12 conference. And yet when we were down in Los Angeles for Media Day, it wasn't SC as that preseason pick. Now with these 2 wins under your belt, knowing what you did against a pretty good Stanford football team, do you guys internally say, you know what, we are legit, we are the team to beat right now in this conference?
We don't really think too much about the outside noise, but I think going into the season, we had a lot of doubters, and I think before even the first game of the year, we wanted to prove everyone wrong. And regardless of the outcome week in and week out, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to go undefeated and win a Pac-12 championship.
Speaking of championships, you had a coach in high school. It's been talked about a ton of Kurt Warner, who's won some championships. What's one thing that you've pulled from your time with him to help you not only prepare for the moment, but now deal with the success moving forward?
So many great things I got from him, but I think most importantly, it was after my senior year. I wanted to watch some NFL film with him, and at the time, Patrick Mahomes was leading the MVP race. And we watched his game versus the Cardinals, and he played great as well, but he also made a lot of mistakes. But at the end of the day, he had a great stat line, and he led the MVP race at the time. And coach was saying, you don't have to play a perfect game. We strive for perfection, but we don't have to play a perfect game. And look, this kid's leading the NFL right now. He's doing it the best as possible, and he's still making mistakes. So I think that really resonated with me.
Yeah, it's a great call because you didn't seem to make too many mistakes in week number 2, and we hope that's the case against BYU on the road in week number 3. Kedon, look, congrats, man, on the early success. Stay healthy for the rest of this season, and we can't wait to see you against BYU and the rest of the year.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, you have been loving up this kid now, and you thought that he would have an opportunity to really thrive last week. What's the most impressive takeaway you saw against the Stanford squad?
Well, not just the ball placement. We saw the throws that he made downfield, the oohs and the ahs, and why they went viral. That's fair. But to me, it was the little things late in the game. It was sitting on his back foot, waiting for the receiver to open up on a slant route, getting the ball to Tyler Vaughns on a critical play. It's feeling pressure, not having to see the pressure at the quarterback position. Those little things, that's the feel for the game that Sam Darnold had.
Sure.
That's the feel for the game that you can't coach. So those are the biggest things. And then the last thing you said, Mike, not being afraid to make mistakes. I mean, how often, imagine being at USC at his age with the list of those quarterbacks we saw. You want to play perfect, and then sometimes you can play tense. This dude is cutting it loose because that's Clay Helton's mentality,
sure.
Graham Harrell's mentality, and I can't wait to watch him this Saturday.
The list is really impressive, just kind of cool because, obviously he was watching Matt Leinart, and we know how good of a guy that he is, but just the list of USC quarterbacks, now Slovis' name is on that list. You and I, we're not done talking about the Trojans every single Tuesday inside Pac-12 football. You do not want to miss it at 6 p.m. Pacific on Pac-12 Network.